Okay, good morning, everybody. I realize this is an ungodly hour for many, including yours truly. This is not the promised video on life with frontotemporal dementia. That will come this evening. It's just something came to my attention during the wee hours on Twitter about the whole Onision mess and the Rewired Soul again. Just when you think he hasn't sunk to an all-time low, he does. And it was a video that was brought to my attention that he uploaded right around American Thanksgiving, which was a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I'm going to react to only certain parts of this video. I'm only going to react to certain parts of this video. I'm not going to play the whole thing because, frankly, he plays a lot of stuff that is quite irrelevant. So, and I will be giving my thoughts because and I think it's no secret, pretty much everybody in Twitter and YouTube land know that Onision himself is known for, oh God, the words we can't say on YouTube. And this is what part right off the bat what gets me. We get in trouble on our channels for mentioning words, certain words regarding the subject, regarding what Onision and Kai are accused of and what they did. Oh, we got to say alleged for legal reasons, I suppose. To protect the guilty? I don't know. But anyways, it was a video the Rewired Soul put up. It was something along the lines called what will happen to Onision's children? And it is a good question on its face. The children are in a bad situation of Onision and Kai, no matter how you put it. And no question that these small, innocent children deserve as much empathy and compassion as Onision and Kai's victims. But the way the Rewired Soul did it, in typical vintage Chris, he injected himself into it and kind of compared himself, the situation. Let's remember way back when he first got canceled, almost a year ago. Let's remember how he sort of alluded to the fact that his own kid was being threatened, which was not true, and nobody was doing that. But anyways, he injected himself. Anyways, let's start taking a look without further ado. Okay, hang on. So we're going to put the share screen. It takes me a few minutes because seeing is believing, unfortunately. And we have to remember, yes, basically, here we go. No, not that one. Hang on, I'm still looking for it. I'm still looking for it. Okay. Okay. Sorry for the delay. I'm getting it up on the screen. Okay, I'm getting it up on the screen. Hang on. Sorry for the delay. I'm still learning how to share a screen. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, here we go.
What's up, everybody? This is Chris from the Rewired Soul, where we talk about the problem, but focus on the solution.
If you're rather, we stay in the problem.
And when talking about different subjects going on in the YouTube community, what I'm trying to do is see what we can learn from them, all right, to improve our own mental and emotional well-being. So if you're in that kind of combination of things.
Okay, we get the preamble. We get the preamble, and I'm getting tired of it, and it's highly inappropriate for this subject, if you ask me. But let's move right along.
Going on YouTube, as well as self-improvement. Make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell. most of you can see I'm out of town, so make sure that you
goody for you
Instagram and Twitter for updates. And I've been writing blogs and everything like that, mental health blogs, so make sure to follow me. So yeah, the internet has been rejoicing.
Word of caution to those who don't already know: don't read his blogs. Besides the fact that he doesn't edit, if you want to know more about mental health, don't read his blogs. Don't read his ebooks. Moving right along.
All right, because Onision finally got banned from Patreon. All right. So I'm going to be discussing this and just a few disclaimers real quick. So with what I'm going to be talking about, first off, I debated on making this video. I just did a little Twitter thread about this, and I was debating on making this because I promised you guys a few weeks ago, like,
this has got to be good.
I am making sure I'm not going to put out content unless I think it can benefit you, unless I think that you can give value.
I can't wait to see how this benefits us. Well, we already know the answer to that. It's not going to benefit us. Whatever he says here is not going to benefit us. However, I am reacting to this because I think it's very serious, because it goes to show he claims he's such an expert on mental health, yet how can he be so clueless on a topic like, oh, I'm just going to come right out and say it, and YouTube can do whatever they do. Child grooming, okay? Onision and his spouse, Kai, groomed minors. They groomed young girls. And yes, sadly, they are the parents of 2 young, innocent children. And thanks to a new channel that came up, Have a Seat with Chris Hansen, who has been interviewing the young women who have unfortunately been in the path of Onision and Kai. There appears to be the FBI will be looking into this demented pair. Okay. And let's hope the FBI operates quickly here, because there are innocent children, as we say. Anyways, go on, Chris Boutte.
I want to just do commentary and share my opinions. Everybody has their opinions on things, right?
No.
But I decided to make this video because I want to discuss the bigger topic of being emotional and very narrow-minded on a situation, and we forget the broader effects.
Okay. Whoa. Narrow-minded? How else do you want us to look at this, dude? How else do you want to look at this? Okay? There is no gray matter here when it comes to the grooming of children.
What happens, right? Especially when we're emotional. When we're emotional, we are not using that thinking part of the brain, the prefrontal.
Emotional thinking part of the brain. I agree. We have to think critically. And if I do say so myself, I am one of the few YouTubers out there that does think critically. I think outside the box. But that's neither here nor there. Okay? This makes me emotional because it hits close to home for me. This whole child grooming thing, it happened to me when I was young. It's happened to people I've known. And okay, and Chris, you're the one who is not seeing the bigger picture here. I don't know what you're thinking.
Cortex. And the other thing that I want to talk about when it comes to this Onision situation, like I will say, like, honestly, I don't know. I do not know what the solution is when it comes to his children. I'm a father myself. I have worked in addiction treatment with a lot of people who were at one point unfit to be parents, like myself. I was unfit to be a parent in my drug addiction and everything like that. But working with people, I
still wonder if he's still fit to be a parent. But anyhow,
do think about the effects on children. I was the son of an alcoholic mom, messed me up. I ended up becoming an addict, but I'm doing pretty well now. One of the reasons I'm out of town is because I'm spending the holidays with my mom, who's 14 years sober now.
Yay.
But anyways, like I said, I do not know the right answer for this situation. All right.
So why do you presume to try to answer the question? Why did you do this video in the first place? This is not a good look for you, Chris.
So what I want to talk about first is I've been reading a book recently called The Knowledge Illusion. Great book.
Okay, we're going to skip past Chris Boutte's book club. Okay, we're going to go skip right over because we don't really need to know about his book club, do we? No. Okay.
Everybody was, they want to get him off the platform. They want to get him off, Patreon. They really want.
Yes, here's the thing. Patreon did the sensible thing and booted him off. Why? Because Onision, in addition to his sins of grooming young girls, he doxed somebody. Patreon tends to frown on such activities like doxing. So does Twitter and YouTube, but I don't know why they're still keeping him on. And for that matter, I don't know why they keep you on, Chris, with you and your dangerous misinformation. And now this.
Want to get him off, YouTube, obviously, get him off Twitter for the terrible things he's done. Like, has what he's done been terrible? Absolutely.
Well, we agree on one thing.
All right. But here's the thing. Everybody knows that he has children. Everybody knows that. Like, that is common knowledge. And, with all of the efforts that have gone into taking him off of, social media and everything like that, the children have been an afterthought, in my opinion.
No, the children are not an afterthought. In fact, let's talk about these children for a second. Okay, if Onision and Kai were able to groom these girls, these young ladies, when they were minors, getting them to shave their heads and do all kinds of crazy things that I can't say on YouTube, who's to say they weren't grooming their proper small children? Okay, didn't think about that one, did you, Boutte? Okay. This is something we have to keep in mind. And perhaps even the children of Onision and Kai have had it a lot worse because the girls they were grooming were teenagers, okay, who already had whatever issues with resistance and whatnot. But imagine two small children, preschoolers, even more helpless. So I'm pretty sure it's worse for them. Do I advocate putting them systematically into the foster care or the group home system? No, of course not. I hope there are relatives, sane relatives, who can take these children in.
So, like I said, it's something that, like, I'm working on myself. Like, I'm always trying to have that second order thinking. Like, if we do this, what happens after that? Like, as much as we all hate Onision and want him off the platform, the reality is that the platform that is giving him money is also supporting those children. All right?
Well, then, he probably should have thought of that before he started playing those sick games with his spouse, Kai, with those young women and perhaps even his own children. And if he was grooming his own children, which nobody seems to really talk about, but it's not such a leap to believe that if he was able to groom these young girls, who's to say he's not grooming these small children? And at that point, it doesn't matter, about the money made to keep the household afloat. That should be the afterthought. It's the safety of those children, the well-being of those children that should come above all else.
And aside from that, when we think about him getting in trouble, like apparently the FBI might be looking into him and stuff like that. what's going to happen to the children? All right, let's say him and Kai both get in trouble. Like, is anybody going to take those kids in who's been part of getting Onision deplatformed? Because again, like when I look at the pro-life side of the debate, it's like, what happens to those kids, right? Like, not all foster kids grow up screwed up. You know what I mean? But I've known many people who grew up in the foster system and they had terrible experiences.
Yes, I get that. As a matter of fact, disclosure, I used to work as an administrative assistant for a social services agency. So frontline, I worked assisting frontline social workers who took care of children at risk. Okay. So yes, it's true. The foster care system is far from perfect. And as far as I understand, it's even worse in the United States than it is here in Canada, to my understanding. But in this instance, sometimes the kids living at home, the situation can be so dangerous. And we've all seen Onision's meltdowns, okay? Some say it's acting and trolling. Some say it's really him. I don't know. If anybody looks inside Onision's eyes, you can probably see it in my clickbaity thumbnail. The eyes are vacant. He looks like something out of a horror movie. Would you leave children with that? His own or anybody else's? I don't think so. See, this is what Chris Boutte here is not grasping.
Awful experiences, right? Lack of funding, some parents who just hoard children to get the benefits from the government and things like that.
That is neither here nor there. Yes, that's a terrible thing, and that's another video and another discussion for another time about the terribly flawed foster care system in the United States and perhaps here in Canada as well, or anywhere else in the world. But for right now, it's what is in the best interest of these children. And from whatever we've been seeing of Onision outing himself with these meltdowns and the fake projectile vomiting, I mean, again, I put it to you, would you leave children with that? You know? And as flawed as the foster care system is, let's hope that these children do not have to go that route. Let's hope there are relatives or some sane people that are willing to give them a good, safe home. But if they have to end up in the foster care system, as flawed as it is, it might be a better option for them.
And it becomes this whole thing. And like I said, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. Like, are these kids better off with that guy or not? You know?
Oh, God, do you really have to ask?
And, you know, the last thing I want to talk about is, you know, when people like myself or maybe even people like you, when we talk to somebody who's been, you know, especially like assaulted, right? We think, you know, why don't you go to the police? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And a few years ago, one of my good friends, she was sexually assaulted. And obviously, you know, my first thought is like, you got to turn this guy in. Like, you got to turn this guy in and get him off the streets, right?
No shit, Sherlock.
Gave me an understanding as to why some people don't go to the authorities, because the man who assaulted her, this monster, was also a father. He was also a father raising his kids.
So,
and she explained that to me, and she explained that's why she wasn't going to the police, because it would affect those kids, right?
Either way, this man's act would have affected the kids. Odds are there's these terrible acts are not a one-off. So odds are these kids already are affected. Should they, you know, and probably they were not safe to be with this person to begin with. But Chris, you're going off the rails again. Stay within the scope. We're talking about Onision and Kai here. Stay within the scope.
He was using that second order thinking. And I'm not saying that, you shouldn't turn in, your the predators who assault
Gee,
people.
thanks, Chris.
But I have a better understanding of why some people don't. You know what I mean? And I hope that
there are other reasons why people don't turn
there,
them in.
Especially us men out there, understand why some people don't turn somebody else in, because maybe they're worried about how it'll affect the family, how to do this, right? Like something I was taught in 12-step programs with the 9th step is we make amends, wherever possible, except when to do so.
Okay, we're going to skip over that. It's kind of he's talking about the 9th step in AA and NA, and it's really neither here nor there.
Bigger picture, right? Like I used the pro-life versus pro-choice.
Oh God!
As an example.
Really?
It's just something that we need to think about. Like, what is the ripple effect? Who else will be affected by the things that we're trying to get done, the things that we're trying to accomplish, whatever we want to do, And so hopefully, if nothing else, I hope you leave this video with just looking at different situations, the different things that you want, especially when it comes to punishment and things like that, that we all try to look at the bigger picture. You know what I mean? Because these kids have been part of this equation the entire time. And one of the things that bothers me is when those children have been like an afterthought. You know what I mean? And, if I'm just being honest, part of that is very personal to me too, with stuff that happened to me earlier this year.
So what are you suggesting, Chris? Okay, because these two have children, they should be excused? Do you realize what you're saying? Does that mean we don't send criminals to jail because they have kids? And so we allow criminals to remain on the streets, harming society, and perhaps setting a bad example on these children that it's okay to harm society as long as you use these kids as a human shield? Because is that what you're suggesting? I would really love to know. And in the case of Kai and Onision and those like them, are we going to leave these children in a potentially dangerous situation with these two? Like, again, anyone has to see is those Onision meltdown videos, even if he is trolling.
A lot of it I brought on myself, and something I discussed, openly was nobody was really thinking about, how that would affect my child. You know what I mean? He's resilient as hell.
Back to that again? Your kid?
And we made it through it, and I'm financially stable now, and and all that, but just something we need to think about. All right. But anyways, that's all I got for this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new,
I gave it a thumbs down.
That notification.
Shouldn't have done that. That means engagement.
Like the next couple of days because of the holidays. So if I don't talk to you, have an amazing Thanksgiving. All right. I'll talk to y'all soon. What's up, everybody?
Oh, brother. So let's recap here and brief here. He's saying the kids are an afterthought. He's saying he's comparing himself because due to his own prior bad acts, there were issues with his own kid, although I don't know what they were to this date. He says that, and I have to wonder, what are you suggesting? All criminal acts, bad acts, we should just excuse them because they have children, and we should use children as a human shield. Because that's what it sounds like to me, okay, from where I'm sitting here at this early hour. That's exactly what it sounds like to me. Oh, just a second. I'll get rid of the screen. Okay, so there we go. So there we are. We use the kids as a human shield. Is that what he's suggesting? No, we should not. And the FBI, I hope, will do its thing, and that not only, I mean, that's a first step. Onision getting booted off Patreon. That's a good first step. And he did it for doxing somebody. Just to recap, he's not some innocent victim here. But he should have thought about his kids before doing these bad acts. Again, like I said, I got to be careful with how I word things here. So I would like to see YouTube get him off the platform. I'd like to see Twitter boot his ass off. And I think I'm not alone. I'm pretty sure I'm not alone here. I'm just beside myself here. I'm sorry, but I am no, I'm not sorry. We should all be outraged that this kind of stuff, this kind of shit is allowed still on the internet. I know the internet is full of creeps and I guess I can't say the word predators. But we should all do our part. We should all do our part to ensure that to stop them and to ensure this doesn't happen. This doesn't happen. Even if we don't do much of anything, because we can't, or for whatever reason, children should never be used as a human shield to excuse bad behavior or bad acts. And the other thing is, should the FBI, this leads to arresting Kai and Onision and they go to prison, they're going to lose the children anyway. So you can't blame a internet mob mentality or the court of public opinion or for getting him booted off Patreon for doxing somebody. Or if he manages to get himself booted off YouTube or Twitter, same thing. Can't be blamed. It can't be blamed. I mean, I know Chris mentioned, barely glossed over, talk about afterthoughts. He barely glossed over the fact that there looks like there's an FBI investigation going on, and should this lead to the arrest of Kai and or Onision, like I said, they're not going to be able to keep their kids anyway. And at the end of the day, it's Kai and Onision's sick acts. Okay, it's their sick acts. Only them and only them should be blamed. And yes, we should be thinking about those poor children. And I sincerely hope, and I'm pretty sure I'm not alone in saying, I hope these children do end up in a nice, safe home, and that they manage to grow up to be normal, happy citizens. And so that's about it for today. I did promise the Life with Dementia video, which I will probably try to do tonight. It will be live streamed. I will also be taking Q&A questions, asking me anything at that time. Not sure what time yet. I have to discuss that with my mods. So have a great day, everybody. And I will catch you later. Straight talking, Fedora Chick over and out.